I'm Jasmine Payne, the lead for communications and marketing here at End-to-End Enterprise Solutions. And we are thrilled to talk about our topic today on E3S Sparks. We're talking governance. What's the next governance, to be exact? And sharing his insights and expertise with us today is Damon Quimby. Damon is the solutions architect for IBM Watson X with TD SYNNEX. Welcome, Damon.
Hi, Jasmine. Glad to
Hi.
be here.
Great to have you. And we've also got with us Carlton Harris. Carlton is our Senior Vice President here at End-to-End Enterprise Solutions. Hello, Carlton.
Hey, how's it going? And
Oh,
Damon,
it's
thanks for
going
joining
well.
us today.
Yes.
So, through my experience on the cybersecurity side, whenever we look at governance, we commonly get a misconception where governance, compliance, and risk are all bundled into one thing. From your perspective, how can organizations address AI risk, and what does that actually look like for them?
Man, that's a great question, Carlton, and I think I might be able to explain this visually a little bit here. Let me just share my screen again. So this kind of shows us kind of what some of the things that executive leadership and HR department, the legal team, right? These are the kind of the things that they're concerned with. These are what some of these risks look like. You see on the left side of this screen here. Now, now IBM has kind of, I like to say, sort of crystallized all of these we see on the left side here into three specific types of risk, right? Regulatory, reputational, and operational. So just, maybe a little bit about each of those. The first one is kind of obvious, regulatory. Nobody wants to be out of compliance with regulations or certainly in violation of some sort of law that might apply, right, to uh, their industry. The second one, with reputational, that's all about your corporate reputation as a brand. Branding is critical today, right? And so that's a risk. No enterprise can afford to take a hit to their brand, right? That's can be devastating, right? And then the third one there, operational risk. In our economic climate, nobody can afford an operational risk either. And so now, just to give you an idea of what we mean by that, let's say a bank is using AI to like approve or deny loans, right? Because that's really pretty straightforward, isn't it? There's certain criteria has to be met. It either meets or doesn't, right? So it's pretty straightforward. But if they're using AI, let's say the model, some bias has crept into the model, or maybe it's experienced some drift, and that's that's when the performance of the model sort of degrades over time, using it for a long time. So, or let's say it starts releasing some personal data that's gotten in there, right? So now the risk is, maybe it's going to approve loans that it shouldn't, right? High risk loan, right? That's not good. But let's say the opposite happens. Now maybe it's denying loans that it should be approving. So you see what I mean? So neither one of those outcomes are good, right? Both both negative outcomes to that kind of risk.
Yeah.
So that's what the concern is with these executive leadership and legal and HR and so forth. So in this slide we see Watson X governance. This shows how it manages risk by being able to quantify the risks that a model might pose to the organization by assigning it a value, right? Let's say there's government regulations or fines maybe for a model making biased decisions. So if the unfair bias rating drops below, let's say, I'm just going to throw out a number, let's say 75%, right? You can assign that a monetary value, right? And boy, when there's money involved, you're going to watch that closely, aren't you? You're going to really monitor that to see if you're getting close to that threshold. Right, so that's kind of what we're seeing in the screenshot on the right side of this page. That's kind of what the dashboard looks like. It's actually, you could see graphical representation of your AI models, live in use as it's happening. Right now, IBM has a product called OpenScale. It's been around for many years, back before Gen AI, when it was just machine learning, right? And it monitors AI for drift and bias. There's another, it's not necessarily a separate product, but it's more like a feature that IBM calls AI fact sheets. And what that does is it collects all the metadata and sort of the facts and the history of a model, and it actually kind of keeps it with that model. And then IBM Open Pages is another product, been around for many years, and that's IBM's GRC solution, governance, regulatory, and compliance. Now, all three of these products are built into watsonx .governance. And so, but I may have mentioned this before, but what's important to know about watsonx governance too is that it's platform agnostic. It doesn't matter what platform your models are running on or were built on. Maybe they're running on just a local server somewhere, or they're in the cloud, or they're on Azure, for example. Even if an organization isn't an IBM shop at all, they can still leverage watsonx.governance to monitor all of their models, regardless of where they were built or where they're being used. And you can still have this enterprise-wide dashboard of all of your AI deployments. So
that's pretty cool. So so if I'm understanding, I think the example of the bank is perfect, especially whenever you start talking about managing risk. I know banks are very risk averse because they're dealing with money, right? So like being able to actually get eyes on how your model is operating. Is there any drift in any of the areas? Like that does add a lot of value for the way that you would end up getting that visibility.
Thank you, Damon. Thank you, Carlton.